Dear teachers and my dear students, myself Dr. P.K. Verma, you all are most welcome in the P.K. Verma biology classes. Today, in the 7th session of Human Physiology, I shall discuss the composition of blood and the different aspects of properties of the blood corpuscles, their functions, and certain parameters used in serology and hematology. You know that blood is a fluid conductive tissue flowing through a closed circulatory system comprising heart, arteries, and veins. In a healthy man, about 6 liters, and in women, about 4.5 liters blood is found. It has two components, blood plasma and the blood corpuscles. When the fresh blood sample is taken up to 100 mark in a hematocrit tube and centrifuged at high speed, the blood corpuscles settle at the bottom and become tightly packed. Its volume is called packed cell volume, and that represents volume of RBC mainly. The volume of blood corpuscles is called hematocrit value or packed cell volume. It is 42% to 50% in a healthy man. The supernatant in blood plasma, the liquid fraction of clotted blood, is called serum. In the blood plasma, the cells are suspended along with many chemical components. A study of the whole blood is known as hematology, and a study of serum is known as serology. Now come to blood plasma. The blood plasma has a volume 50 to 58% of the total blood. It has about 90% water that acts as solvent for a number of organic and inorganic materials. Many lipids and protein molecules remain suspended in blood plasma. Its pH is maintained at 7.4 by a mechanism of buffer system involving sodium chloride and bicarbonate ions. It has high concentration of protein, particularly albumin and globulins. High concentration of albumin in blood plasma maintains a high viscosity of blood. The globular proteins include gamma globins that constitutes a large number of antibodies. Fibrinogen is another important protein that causes blood clotting. It is called factor 1. In addition to them, many other proteins like transferrin, calmodulin, myoglobin, thyroxine-binding globulin, all types of peptide hormones, etc. also are present in blood plasma. Plasma carries nutrients like glucose, amino acids, free fatty acids, as well as cholesterol, steroidal hormones and vitamins. It also carries excretory metabolites, drugs, and toxins coming into body through air, contaminated food and water. Now, in this table, the constituent of blood plasma is shown. Albumin is 4.4%, globulin 2.3%, fibrinogen 0.3%. It totals protein 7%. Glucose 80 to 100 mg per 100 ml, cholesterol 150 to 260 mg per 100 ml, urea 18 to 38 mg per 100 ml, bilirubin 0.3 to 1.9 mg per 100 ml, and uric acid 3.4 to 7.2 mg per 100 ml. 100 ml can be written as deciliter. 100 milliliter is equal to 1 deciliter. Among the inorganic constituents, sodium is 250 mg per 100 ml, potassium 20 mg per 100 ml, calcium 10 mg per 100 ml, phosphate 3 mg per 100 ml, magnesium 2.5 mg per 100 ml, and chloride 400 to 600 mg per 100 ml. Now come to the blood corpuscles. These are often called formed elements. Blood contains as many as 3 types of cells known as blood corpuscles. These are red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, and the platelets. The blood corpuscles are produced within lymphatic tissues like bone marrow, kidneys, liver, and spleen in embryo, but it is formed only in bone marrow in adults. After the age of 22, only the bone marrow of vertebra, ribs, and ileum produces blood corpuscles, as the marrow of the long bones become fatty and non-functional. These tissues are known as hemopoietic tissues, and the formation of blood corpuscle is called hemopoiesis. When RBC is formed, it is erythropoiesis, and when WBC is formed, it is leukopoiesis. Similarly, if you discuss about formation of platelets, it can be said as thrombopoiesis. Now come to red blood corpuscles. In the vertebrates, there are a large number of cells called RBC or erythrocytes. These cells have an oval or a spherical shape in all vertebrates except mammals, in which they have biconcave structure. At the time of maturation in bone marrow, Golgi complex, lysosome, and mitochondria are lost at first. Then endoplasmic reticulum also is lost. This is the photograph of a blood capillary in which blood is flowing, and some RBCs can be seen. In the separate diagram, you can see that the RBC is a biconvex structure. Here, the concavity is clearly shown The diameter of blood corpuscle is 7.9 micrometer, whereas the thickness is hardly 2.8 micrometer. In mammalian RBC, nucleus also is lost except in the camel family. When blood is left to settle, RBC become piled one above the other and form tall columns. It is called Rayleigh formation. The protoplasm of RBC contains hemoglobin, to which oxygen becomes bound to form oxyhemoglobin. Its color is pink to red depending on concentration. So these cells are called red blood corpuscles. Now, what is the hemoglobin? The hemoglobin is a complex protein containing 2 molecules of alpha globin and 2 molecules of beta globin. The alpha globin has 141 amino acids and beta globin has 146 amino acids. Therefore, a alpha to beta to hemoglobin tetramer is made of 574 amino acids. Each globin protein contains a molecule of heme or iron porphyrin. A heme group consists of an iron, ferric ion, held in a heterocyclic ring known as porphyrin. This porphyrin ring consists of 4 pyrrole molecules cyclically linked together by methine bridge with the iron ion bound in the center. The iron ion, which is the site of oxygen binding, coordinates with the 4 nitrogen atoms in the center of the ring, which all lie in one plane. The hydrophobic core of the globin fold favors heme binding, but it is the proximal F8, that is helix F, position number 8 histidine, that actually binds the heme nucleus to the protein. In alpha chain, it is 58th amino acid, and in beta chain, it is 63rd amino acid. The iron is bound strongly, that is covalently, to the globular protein via the nitrogen atom of the imidazole ring of F8 histidine. You can see 2 colors in this diagram. One represents alpha globin and another represents beta globin. In between these 4 chains, there are some small green colored molecules. These green colored molecules are the heme molecules. This is the condition of the center in the heme nucleus. At 4 corners, there are nitrogen of the porphyrin rings, and in the center, iron is bound covalently. This iron is also bound to nitrogen of histidine. Just above that, oxygen can be bound, that you can see in this diagram. In this table, you can compare the RBC count and hemoglobin content in the male and female. In women, there are 45 million RBC per millimeter cube, but in male it is about 50 million per millimeter cube. The lifespan of RBC is 120 days. In women, hemoglobin content in average is 13 to 14.5%. In men, it is 15 to 16%. In children, slightly higher hemoglobin, 16.5%, is found. When it comes in contact of oxygen, it forms oxyhemoglobin. The oxygen molecule becomes temporarily bound to iron in the heme nucleus. One molecule of hemoglobin binds 4 molecules of oxygen, and 1 gram of hemoglobin can bind 1.3 milliliter oxygen. The human blood contains average 15 gram per 100 ml hemoglobin, so about 19.5 milliliter oxygen is carried as oxyhemoglobin. In various tissues, oxyhemoglobin dissociates and supplies oxygen. Now, this is the diagram showing Neubur's hemocytometer. Hemocytometer is a special type of slide. You can see here is the slide. It has some grooves, and after putting the blood sample into these grooves, it is covered with a cover glass. On the slide, there is an area in which fine divisions are made by making grooves. In these divisions, depth is 0.1 millimeter, length and width is 1 millimeter. So, in 0.1 millimeter cube, the volume of blood contains RBC as well as WBC. When RBC is counted, it is diluted 200 times, but when WBC is counted, it is diluted only 20 times. In the center of graph, there are 4 into 5 divisions in each row, and the total area covered is only 0.1 mm cube. WBC is counted in the 4 lighter areas in the corner. So, these are the WBC chambers, and this is the RBC chamber where the counting is made. It is an apparatus known as Sahli's hemoglobinometer. In this apparatus, there are 2 reference tubes. These are color tubes. When the blood up to 0.5 mark is mixed with 0.5 milliliter of hydrochloric acid, a heme crystal is formed. It is dark in color. It is diluted by distilled water to match the color with the 2 reference tubes. In the tube, directly there is the percentage amount of hemoglobin written. So after dilution, if hemoglobin content is high, you will need to dilute the blood more, and if hemoglobin content is low, you will dilute the blood less. It is a direct measurement of hemoglobin content in blood without using a spectrophotometer. In RBC, an important enzyme, carbonic anhydrase, is found. that controls conversion of carbon dioxide into bicarbonate. It is one of the fastest known enzymes. The death rate of RBC is quite high, and as many as 3 million RBC die every day, but more than 4 times can form in a day. Therefore, when a healthy person donates 225 milliliter blood, that is 1 unit blood, this loss is compensated very soon in 18 days only. Deficiency of hemoglobin is called anemia. There may be many causes of anemia, but some important causes are Addison's pernicious anemia that develops due to deficiency of vitamin B12, that is methylcobalamin or cyanocobalamin. Macrocytic or megaloblastic anemia develops due to deficiency of folic acid and vitamin B12. The third is microcystic or hypochronic anemia that develops due to deficiency of iron. Hemolytic anemia due to destruction of RBC, such as in case of malaria. Hypoplastic and aplastic anemia due to destruction of bone marrow due to radiation, etc. The sixth one is the sickle cell anemia, a genetic disorder due to autosomal recessive mutation. Now come to white blood corpuscles, that is leukocytes. These are colorless cells as they do not contain hemoglobin or any other respiratory pigment. So these are often known as leukocytes, that is white cells. In their cytoplasm, however, some granular substances may be present that respond differently to different stains. The granulocytes have a polymorphic nucleus, so these are also known as polymorphonuclear leukocytes. On the basis of the staining property, these cells have 5 major types. The first group is granulocytes. In some of the leukocytes, cytoplasmic granules of different chemical nature are found that can be stained by use of acidic, basic or neutral dye. Accordingly, these are named as acidophils, basophils and neutrophils. The neutrophils are normally stained by acidic as well as basic, both dyes, so these are often called amphophils. The agranulocytes have no cytoplasmic granules, but due to difference in shape, these are identified into 2 types, monocytes and lymphocytes. In this table, you can see the differential count of WBC. The total count of WBC is in a range 5000 to 9000 per mm3. Granulocytes have 3 types, acidophils 2 to 4%, basophils 0.5 to 2%, neutrophils 60 to 70%, monocytes 2 to 8%, and lymphocytes 20 to 30%. These are the cells: monocytes, eosinophil, that is acidophils, basophils, lymphocytes and neutrophils. These can be identified by their physical appearance staining properties as well as the shape of nucleus. Acidophils are also known as eosinophils, as these are stained easily by eosin dye. They play indirect role in defense against the pathogens and antigens, but have very little phagocytic and antigen binding capacity. These cells have 10 to 12 micrometer diameter. They have only a few hours life in our circulation. Their number increases readily in allergy, some viral infection, cold and cough. If the count increases, it is called eosinophilia. Second one is basophil. These are smaller in size, only 8 to 10 micrometer, and have lowest population. These cells secrete heparin and histamine. Their number may increase in allergic reactions, asthma, bronchitis, whooping cough, and filarial infections. These cells release histamine, a bronchodilator substance. Heparin is anticoagulant. The neutrophils are not stained by neutral dyes, rather both by acidic and basic dyes, so these are called amphophils. These are small amoeboid cells with 10 to 12 micrometer diameter. They can pass out through the blood capillary into the tissues inflamed by infections. The process of moving out of capillaries is known as diapedesis. They reach the infected site. These are phagocytes and can feed upon up to 10 bacteria at a time. In most general infections, therefore, the count of neutrophils increases. The fourth type is monocyte. It is agranulocyte. It is largest amoeboid cell having size 16 to 22 micrometer and pass out of blood capillaries lately. They can feed upon 100 bacteria at a time by phagocytosis. The monocytes have longer lifespan, about 28 days, as compared to only 2 to 3 days life of neutrophils. So these are more powerful soldiers of our body. The lymphocytes have a special status because these cells can produce antibodies against specific antigens released by different microbes such as bacteria, virus, and some fungi, etc. The antigen and antibodies interact together and cause agglutination. These products are later on destroyed by neutrophils, monocytes, or by the Kupffer cells of liver. Recently, two types of lymphocytes have been identified. These are B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. The B lymphocytes are formed in bone marrow and become mature therein. These cells come into blood circulation and release antibodies into blood plasma. So these antibodies are called secretory or humoral antibodies. The T lymphocytes, on the other hand, are formed in the bone marrow, but they become mature in thymus gland. These cells form non-secretory or non-humoral antibodies. that is, the antibodies produced by these cells, are not secreted in blood plasma. The T cells also have three categories. These are T helper cells or Th cells, T cytotoxic cells or Tc cells, and T suppressor Ts or T regulatory cells, Treg cells. Cytologically, the B cells and T cells cannot be identified. They can be identified on the basis of specific protein molecules described as cluster of differentiation or CD molecules. Th differs from Tc cells by presence and absence of CD4 and CD8. In this table, different CD molecules have been described. Most of them have signal transduction as their special functions. You can see CD4 absent in B cell, present in Th cell but absent in Tc cells. CD8 is absent in B cell as well as Th cell but present in Tc cells. And CD21 is present in B cells but absent in T cells. There are many more differences such as CD32 and CD40 also are present in B cells but these are absent in T cells. Now come to platelets or thrombocytes. These are star-shaped or irregular cells of only 2 or 3 micrometer diameter. These are produced by the megakaryocytes of bone marrow which do not come into circulation. The platelets are with or without nucleus. These are present in our body in large numbers, about 1.5 million to 3 million per millimeter cube. These cells break when the blood comes in contact of some foreign objects or in contact of air, but they release thromboplastin factor, which are essential for blood clotting. Without this factor, blood clotting becomes impossible. These clots block the capillaries at damaged site to prevent loss of blood. Now let us study the blood clotting mechanism. When a blood vessel is injured or a few drops of blood is taken out and left in air on a glass slide, it starts clotting within 5 to 10 minutes. When the blood sample is observed under microscope, fine protein fibers are seen to polymerize in it. These are called fibrins. A dense network of these fibrins is formed at the injured site and prevents blood corpuscles to pass through. Very soon, the whole material becomes dry and the injured site becomes sealed up. In this way, the excess bleeding does not take place. You can see how the small yellow-colored protein fibers are forming, and these are entangled with the RBC so that the RBC cannot move further. The fibers become more dense and all blood corpuscles become entangled to them. Gradually, the site becomes blocked. Now, what causes blood clotting? There are a number of complex proteins and phospholipid molecules involved in blood clotting, which are known as blood clotting factors. These have been numbered 1 to 13, but there is nothing like factor 6. Thus, there are only 12 blood clotting factors. In this reaction, glucose, calcium, and vitamin K also play important roles. This is the list of 12 factors. Factor 1 is fibrinogen, factor 2 prothrombin, factor 3 thromboplastin or platelet factor 3, or it is a phospholipid. Factor number 4 is calcium, fifth is labile factor or proaccelerating acglobin. There is nothing like factor 6. Factor 7 includes a stable factor that is also known as proconvertin or serum thrombin conversion accelerator SPCA. Factor number 8 is anti-hemophilic factor A or the anti-hemophilic globulin AHG. Factor 9 is Christmas factor. It is also known as plasma thromboplastin component PTC or the anti-hemophilic factor B. Factor number 10 is Stuart-Prober factor. 11 plasma thromboplastin antecedent PTA or the anti-hemophilic factor C. 12th factor is Hagmann's factor and the last one is fibrin stabilizing factor. There are two sources of thromboplastin activities in the body on the basis of which these factors are named as intrinsic and extrinsic factor or the tissue factor. The intrinsic factors are found in plasma itself, whereas the extrinsic factors are released from the damaged tissue. Factor 3, 8, 9, 11 and 12 are intrinsic factors, whereas factor 7 is extrinsic factor. The other factors, calcium, factor 5, factor 10, are both extrinsic and intrinsic factors. You can see the list of these factors. Factor 3, 8, 9, 11, 12. These are intrinsic factors. Common factors are calcium, factor 5, labile factor or pro-accelerating. Factor 10 is Stuart factor. These are common factors. And the last one, factor 7, that is proconvertin, is extrinsic factor. Now, the reaction is simple. In the blood plasma, there is an inactive protein, prothrombin. It is to be converted into enzyme thrombin. Thrombin is an enzyme. And this enzyme causes polymerization of the soluble plasma protein, fibrinogen, into insoluble fibers or the fibrin. But activation of prothrombin into thrombin is a complex process. It needs a chain of reaction commonly known as reaction cascade. This cascade of reaction was first explained by Macfarlane in 1966, but was modified many times in due course. It is a chain reaction, and if any one or more factor is missing, blood clotting may fail. Factor 8, 9, 10 deficiency give impaired generation of intrinsic blood thromboplastin, and factor 8 is especially blamed to cause hemophilia if it is absent. But other two causes delay in blood clotting, that is factor 9 and 10 are if deficient, the blood clotting time is delayed. The persons lacking factor 8 and 9 are known as bleeders, that is, by a minor injury, excess loss of blood occurs. In the blood plasma, a precursor of kallikrein, an enzyme serine protease known as prekallikrein is found, that is much similar to factor 11. Prokallikrein is activated by factor 12 into kallikrein that complexes with high molecular weight kininogen, that is HK, and the complex activates factor number 11. The intrinsic factor 11 and extrinsic factor 7 both activate factor 9 that will, with the help of phospholipid and calcium, as well as factor 8, activates factor 10. Factor 10 activates prothrombin and forms enzyme thrombin that converts soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin, and blood clotting starts. The clot is stabilized by factor number 13. You can see the two sets of tables in which two cascades of reactions are taking place. The intrinsic pathway is conversion of 12 into 12A. Again 12A activates factor 9 into 9A, and the activated 9A with the help of calcium and activated factor 8 converts factor 10 into 10A. Similarly, the extrinsic factor tissue thromboplastin activates factor 7 into 7A, and the 7A further activates factor 10 into 10A. So after activation of factor number 10, the prothrombin is converted into thrombin. The same cascade is shown in this reaction also. Now the activated factor 10 changes prothrombin into enzyme thrombin. Now thrombin acts on fibrinogen, forming the fibrin monomer and then fibrin polymer. This fibrin polymer is the clot in which RBC, WBC, platelets all are entangled. This clot is stabilized by factor 13. Now, there are two terms, hemostasis and thrombosis. Hemostasis is the cessation of bleeding from a cut or several vessels, whereas thrombosis occurs when the endothelium lining of blood vessels is damaged or removed. These processes encompass blood clotting and involve blood vessels, platelet aggregation, and plasma protein that cause both formation and dissolution of platelet aggregates. There are four phases to homeostasis and thrombosis. Construction of the injured vessels to diminish blood flow. Second is formation of a loose and temporary platelet aggregate at the site of injury. Platelet binds to collagen fibers at the site of injury and changes shape in the presence of fibrinogen aggregates to form the hemostatic plug or the thrombus. Formation of fibrin mesh that binds to the platelet aggregates, forming a more stable hemostatic plug or thrombus. And the fourth step is partial or complete dissolution of hemostatic plug or thrombus by plasmin. Now there are some chemicals that prevent blood clotting. In our body, blood clotting is prevented by a small quantity of heparin produced by mast cells of connective tissue, which is found in the saliva of mosquito also. In laboratory, blood clotting is prevented by mixing sodium citrate or sodium oxalate in a concentration of 0.01% only. Sodium fluoride, ammonium oxalate, and sodium diethyene diamine tetraacetic acid, that is EDTA, also are used for this purpose in laboratory. In saliva of leech, another anticoagulant, hirudin, is found. So you have understood the composition of blood and blood clotting mechanism. In the next session, we shall study the circulatory system in brief. Thank you very much.